Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's your boy, the Superpower Man of the Hour, Judge Cantrell here. Welcome back to another edition of Drive by Drive. Did you miss me? Did you miss us? I'm sure you did. I'm sure you were, all over YouTube like, hey, this video is real cool and all, but where's Drive by Drive? Where'd it go? We're still here. We're still alive. At least I think we are. But no, we're still here. We're still kicking around. But we got a lot to talk about. So I'm going to stop flapping my gums and get to these introductions. Of course, as always, the crew is here. We got Million Jackson. We got Chris Young. We got Seth Weinfield. They're all here. They're all here. All right. And of course, you got your boy. So let's get into it. Boys, we've been gone for a while. About 2 weeks, I think it's been. 2 weeks since we've talked football, and what a 2 weeks it's been. So many things have happened. So many, teams are no longer undefeated. As it stands now, there are only 3 teams remaining who are still perfect, those being the Seattle Seahawks, the Tennessee Titans, and those Pittsburgh Steelers are cooking right now. So we got a lot to talk about, boys. Let's do it this way. Since we've been missing, we've been gone for a while, we're gonna recap the past few weeks in the best way we can. So we're gonna talk about what are the most surprising things that happened over the past few weeks, one of the disappointing things that happened over the past few weeks, and what you're looking forward to for week 7, because we got a lot to talk about in what should be an amazing week 7. So, boys, for each of you, a surprise, a disappointment, and what you're looking forward to. And to kick off the show, we're going to go to Mr. Million Jackson. What you got for us?
Ooh, cool. Thank you, Judge. Okay, do we have to do it in that order, or can we just,
it doesn't matter. Say
I think I'm most excited for this Tennessee Pittsburgh game, especially because they're both 5-0 going into it. We both know, Derrick Henry on the Tennessee Titans and then the Pittsburgh defense. I want to see how that match up, right? I really want to see how that match up. Disappointment. I think the biggest disappointment, other than Dallas Cowboys with Dak and Daniel Jones tripping on the 20-yard line. But other than that, I'm happy that the 49ers is at even, and I feel like I'm, you know what I'm saying? Glad we're, one of the hardest divisions, but it's okay. I feel we're going to be all right. I think we're going to win this next game too, so you know what I'm saying? I'm feeling good right now about football.
Sweet. All good things. Mr. Chris Young, what you got for the boys?
All right, what's up, man? What I'm most excited about this week is just the matchups overall. You got Pittsburgh versus Tennessee. You got you got the Seahawks versus the Cardinals, and you got the Bears versus the Rams on Mondays. All of these are just very, very, very good matchups, and all of these teams have a lot of momentum going in, especially Tennessee with Derrick Henry and Pittsburgh with their just defense overall, their lockdown defense. So, and one thing that I'm really, really, really disappointed in was just Dak Prescott going down with that injury, and it was horrid, absolutely horrid to see. And that man was absolutely cooking so far, especially in that game too. So that was something that I was really, 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 really messed up about, because that man was on pace to throwing like over 6,000 yards this season. That, bro, when I seen the news about it, bro, I just couldn't even believe it. And that one would really just knock off Dallas Cowboys' season right there. And something that I'm really, really surprised about last season, well, not last season, but last week. Overall, probably I'm not really sure. Yeah, I'm not really sure. Not that many surprises, but yeah, I'm just gonna go with. Actually, I'm just gonna go with the Ravens with how they handled the Pittsburgh, the Philadelphia Eagles. Even though they had such a close game, I feel like this team was supposed to actually slaughtered Philadelphia with how they handled with how Baltimore handled Philadelphia. So really, that game really shouldn't have been so far ahead in regards for Baltimore. Yeah.
Seth, it's on you, man.
All right, so here's how I'm looking at it. I'm gonna have this is gonna sound weird at first, but one of my surprises is also going to be one of my disappointments, and I'm going to explain how that works in a little bit. But my first surprise, which isn't a surprise and disappointment, are the Tennessee Titans. Looking back to not this past Tuesday, but the Tuesday before, absolutely destroying the Buffalo Bills. The Titans were getting battered with COVID-19. Every time you looked back at the Tennessee Titans, another player had COVID. It was spreading so quickly. It was crazy. Yet they absolutely trounced the Bills 42-16. That was shocking. I was not expecting that with the Bills coming in 4-0. So the Titans have been playing really well. I'm really looking forward to that Steelers game. My other surprise is going to be the Miami Dolphins at 3-3. Everyone's expecting this team to be around like 3-13, 4-12 at the end of the year. But this Miami team has been looking pretty good. They're not setting the world on fire, but they've been looking pretty good. They held the Jets last week to 0 points, and then they beat the 49ers 43-17. And they were really competitive against the Seahawks as well. So this is a team that I am very impressed with, and I'm excited to see where they're going forward, except they're also my disappointment. And I'm going to explain that because I am so pissed. I am so pissed at the front office of the Miami Dolphins for putting in Tua Tagovailoa, I'm probably not of that name, but putting him in instead of Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick earned that quarterback job over the past day, and he is a veteran. He is savvy, and he's good for that young team. And Tua he's an amazing talent, and he has so much time. They should have kept with Ryan Fitzpatrick for a bit while longer. So that's my main disappointment. I was really, really disheartened to see that. Another disappointment of mine, I'm going to go with Buffalo. Buffalo was 4-0 going into week 5. They were looking really good against some bad teams. And then they get trounced back-to-back by good teams, Tennessee and Kansas City. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Buffalo responds in the next couple of weeks, because they really got challenged, and they really faced some competition. So I'm really interested to see how Buffalo responds to that. And they're also benefited by a weaker team. So we're going to see how that works out. So yeah, those are my surprises and disappointments.
Yo, that was solid all around. I want to talk a little bit about dropping Fitzpatrick for Tua. Contrary to popular belief, I agree with the decision. And here is why. You have the LA Rams coming to town soon. Aaron Donald is supposed to, or they were. The Rams are supposed to meet the Dolphins pretty soon, right? Because the NFC West is taking on all of the AFC East, right? So Aaron Donald and them boys are coming to town. Aaron Donald is no average man. That dude is a straight up monster and is easily the best defensive player this year. An argument can be made for others, but if you, for my money, I want Aaron Donald, right? So I understand the decision that, we've got Aaron Donald coming to town. We understand that Fitzpatrick can scramble, but Aaron Donald is another beast. Aaron Donald is a completely different machine. Let me put in my young guy who's a little bit more agile, got a little bit, not as, his body isn't betraying him, as of late. He of course went through that horrific injury at the end of his season in Alabama, but I think Tua's, got something to prove. You know what I mean? So I think Tua is actually going to do very well in the starting position. Make no mistake about it. Fitzpatrick is, one of the most overrated quarterbacks ever, being that he is, he can be inconsistent at times. That's just my opinion. I think he's underrated because of his inconsistency. Sometimes he'll have an absolutely atrocious game. Other times he'll have, a game that makes him look like a superstar. And that's just the way his career has been. He hasn't been put in a lot of good situations, and that can be for a multitude of reasons. But that's another conversation for another time. I think they were looking out for Fitz in a way. Not that they don't trust Fitz to be able to get the ball out fast enough so that he doesn't take sacks from guys like Aaron Donald, or that they don't trust Fitz to scramble. I just think they're looking out for Fitz's best interests. You can argue at me. You can argue and at me all you want. You can debate me in the comment section all you want. Like I've said, I have nothing to do. So if you want to put some stuff in the comment section, I will definitely be there to argue and debate. But I agree. I agree, and I might be wrong, and I might be right. You never know. We just have to see what this Sunday is going to look like. My biggest disappointment, other than Dak going down, because you got to feel for the dude, man. This was his contract year. He was going ballistic on everybody. And the fact that he was still the leading passer after the week after, he went down is amazing, because that just shows you he was so far ahead of everybody else, that no matter what he did the next game, had he played, he would have still been in the top spot, right? But of course he can't play anymore, so obviously the top spot's been taken from him. But you just got to feel for the man, dude, because he was playing for his money, So, yeah, definitely that's a big disappointment of mine. Another disappointment of mine, I would say, I think it's got to be the game, the San Francisco game against Miami. It's self-explanatory. I'm a diehard Niners fan, and it was tragic. I think that one's just self-explanatory. But I was really disappointed in Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, taking the whooping that they did against Tampa. Props to Tampa's defense. That defense, they aren't scrubs. They got a lot to offer. And, Tom Brady had an okay game. He threw for over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, I think it was. So we had a game, didn't turn the ball over. So, he had a pretty, decent game. But Aaron Rodgers, and after those first two drives, which happened to be their only scoring drive, it just, things weren't working out. The game looked a lot like, both games played against San Francisco last season, where Aaron Rodgers just couldn't get anything going, and, the defense couldn't really stop, the Green Bay defense couldn't really stop the opposing offense. So really disappointed in Green Bay. I think they'll turn it around this week with a win against Houston, but I don't think it's going to be an average win. Houston took Tennessee to their limits last week, and I expect Houston to have games like that all year, where they're taking teams to their limits, and sometimes they'll win a game, other times they'll lose a game. My surprise, I think it's got to be the Pittsburgh Steelers, because no one was expecting them to be this hot out the gate. We know that they've got, firepower on the defensive side of the ball, right? You've got TJ Watt coming across, and attacking the quarterback. You got Minkah Fitzpatrick in the backfield taking the ball away. But the utter dominance that they have shown through these first 6 weeks do not go unnoticed. You know what I mean? And I'll touch on that a little bit later in the show. But yeah, definitely one of my surprises. Chase Claypool is looking amazing. He keeps going this rate. He could be in, the conversation for Rookie of the Year, or Offensive Rookie of the Year, I should say. He could be in that conversation. So Chase Claypool, man, that his future is bright, dude. His future is bright. And it works out well because teams know what he's capable of. And because of that, they'll game plan for him and only him, forgetting that they have Juju Smith-Schuster as well, right? So when Chase Claypool isn't having such a game, Juju Smith-Schuster is free to just ball out, which, helps out Big Ben a lot. I will say I am surprised in the lack of efficiency coming from Big Ben. Although they are good, I think Big Ben still needs to show me something more. You know what I mean? Because I think this Steelers team looks a lot like the San Francisco team last year. Their defense is solid, and their offense is efficient enough to win them games and keep them ahead. They'll torch, teams that are less than them. But, when it comes to teams like the Tennessee Titans or teams like the Baltimore Ravens, their offense is going to need to be able to do a little bit more to hang in with such heavyweights. So I'm excited to see what they do coming up. So, yeah. So that'll do it for this segment of, Drive by Drive. We hope you've enjoyed it so far. We got a lot more to talk about, baby. We've been gone, so we want to get to it all. All right. Seth will be leading the next segment as always. So you know what's coming. It's going to be straight heat coming up right after this.
What's up, everybody? It's Seth. So we got some great topics to talk about. We haven't been here for quite a little bit, and we got a lot to talk about. And we're going to start with one of the most notable things, probably the most notable thing that has happened other than the Dak Prescott injury in the time that we have been gone. And it happened just this week. Antonio Brown has signed an NFL contract yet again. He has signed Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Antonio Brown, he's a character. You're getting something with Antonio Brown, whether it be good or bad. And he is a hell of a football player. And this is surely going to contribute to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady's offense. So I want to get y'all's thoughts on this signing and what you think the Tampa Bay offense is going to look like with the addition of Antonio Brown. When is his impact truly going to be felt? And if this signing should have even happened in the first place. Antonio Brown is a man that is ridden with controversy. And there are reports that he's not the best guy. Or should he have been signed, and does he deserve to be in the NFL? I want to get all y'all's thoughts on this. Judge, do you want to start us off?
Sure, I'll start us off. I was actually going to look up free agents. Why? Because there are a multitude of free agents who should have been taken before Antonio Brown. Allow me to step into my Stephen A. element real quick. This was the dumbest thing Tampa Bay could have done. And let me tell you why. This is the dumbest thing any team could have done, in my opinion. Antonio Brown is bad for business. Shout out WWE and Triple H. Anyway, it is bad for business, period. Seth, you said it yourself. Antonio Brown is, he is riddled with controversy. If you want to get technical with it, watch what I do here. It's a play on words. He's bad juju. Why? Because what happened the first time there was controversy? He was mad because Juju Smith-Schuster was getting more targets than he was. This is a guy who thinks and acts like he is the greatest receiver that we have ever seen. Mind you, he is absolutely, arguably considered one of the greatest wide receivers in this or any generation, right? But you got to realize, dude, this entire sport has seen the likes of Deion Sanders, Terrell Owens, Jerry Rice, Calvin Johnson, so many guys are good and talented, right? And so the mentality of Antonio Brown is bad. It's what's bad for business. If you have a guy who is so obsessed with being targeted first and often, it's going to be very bad for business. I know you saw that we just lost Seth. He'll be back, I'm sure, connection issues. But it's just it's a bad decision. Why? Because Tampa has a good thing going, all right? They have a great thing going for them right now. And if they bring this kind of attitude, right, to the team, it's going to affect them negatively. It happened in New England. It happened in Pittsburgh. And it happened in Oakland, which is now Las Vegas. It happens everywhere this dude goes. Allow me to explain what I mean. I'm assuming you guys have all seen the Dark Knight movie. It's the Batman movie starring Heath Ledger as the Joker and all that, right?
Absolutely.
There's a scene in the movie where Michael Jai White slams the table and says, "Enough from the clown." That scene right there, that "enough from the clown." Every time I think of Antonio Brown, I think to that scene. Enough from the clown. This dude's mentality is so warped. I don't like this decision at all. Let me tell you who you could have taken over, There's so many people, but the one name that comes to mind to me for Tampa Bay, if they were really looking to have a receiver, although I don't know why you need a receiver, your rookie receiver whose name I forget, he's good. You have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin for Pete's sake, who are amazing, right? Now, mind you, they've been a little injured, but if you're really looking for a receiver to have, the 49ers signed Mohamed Sanu, and then they dropped Mohamed Sanu. Mohamed Sanu is a good wide receiver. Mohamed Sanu is a free agent, which means Mohamed Sanu doesn't have a job right now. He is sitting at home watching the sport he loves fly by him week after week. If you really need a wide receiver, go pick up Mohamed Sanu. The dude knows what he's done. He's been to a Super Bowl. Mind you, he hasn't won one, but he's been to a Super Bowl. Go pick up Mohamed Sanu. All in all, this was not a good pickup by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't expect this to help them in any way, shape, or form. It's just not gonna work out. I've said my piece. That's how I feel about it. Terrible decision. Terrible decision.
Judge, I apologize, y'all. My internet cut out for a couple minutes, but I'm back, and I've got to say, Judge, I'm a little annoyed that you slandered my man Ryan Fitzpatrick like that in the last debate that we had a little bit, but I cannot disagree with you about Antonio Brown. This was a dumb decision. In my opinion, he is a cancer in the clubhouse. And they were figuring out, Tampa Bay was figuring out with their offense and defense, they figured out against Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Fame quarterback, and that team was walking in 4-0, and Tampa Bay figured them out and destroyed them. And then they go pick up the guy with DUIs, sexual assault allegations, and just not a great guy in general. So I cannot support this signing. I think it's stupid. I don't think Tampa needs him. I don't think that he's good for any clubhouse and will worsen the team even more. Million, what's your take?
I was actually talking to my father about this. I think yesterday he pulls up his phone and goes, "Oh, well." I was like, "Well, he is probably." I said, "Good for them," because they're in the NFC and the 49ers are in the NFC. And if you want that to, he's like you said, cancerous and just poisonous to a culture of a team. When you have people trying to figure it out, especially with the inconsistency with the injuries, with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are going through, adding Rob Gronkowski being there, and then you add in this person that just doesn't seem to want to share or want to share just I don't know. He doesn't want to be a part of the culture of a winning team. He doesn't want to be something that supports others. So if he's not getting his spotlight, then it's bad for him. Common saying is any publicity is good publicity, but what he gets isn't good. His attitude towards the game, some of the stuff he's tangled up with outside of football. I feel like it's gonna bring down the reputation of not only the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's gonna rapidly reduce his stock even, and I just don't think it's a good look, especially if he's not getting the type of touches that he wants, because you're with pro bowlers like Mike Evans and Rob Gronkowski at any given year, and you have young prospects that are trying to find their way in the offense as well. So I think the overall culture and practices, we're accounting for what he has shown in Pittsburgh in prime years, but we're not accounting for how he diminishes cultures, like the teams that he's around, and how those situations that he has gone to, whether it's Pittsburgh, New England, Oakland at the time, and now Tampa Bay, yet to see just how they didn't get better from him being there, even if he was only there for a short amount of time, like with the Raiders and the football and the football helmet stuff, the DUIs and the sexual assault, and being flagrant and overt twerking in the end zone. And it's like your character, you feel as though your character is above the game, and that if you're not in the spotlight, then it's bad. So this one person could be a huge downfall, not only for the offense, but for the organization as a whole. feel like they're going to get a lot of backlash from this once people start realizing that him as a wide receiver doesn't make up for everything else negative about him, especially when you already have firepower the way you do at that team.
Yeah, for sure. We're all in agreement so far. This is a bad decision by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And it's interesting because all NFL teams, obviously because of COVID-19 protocols, cannot be at 100% capacity. But I believe Florida's around 25% capacity for both Miami and Tampa Bay. So you're bringing in a slight economic perspective of people investing in the team and going to see a game. And they're building, at least before this signing, they were building a model of really good players and building a franchise that's definitely more unproblematic. You got Tom Brady, Gronkowski, Leonard Fournette, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin. You're building a franchise, and then you just bring in this cancerous, really problematic guy, and that kind of ruins a lot of that. And I'm not sure that fans are going to be wanting to watch him and support him because he's not a great guy, at least in my opinion, and his record shows that. Chris, I want to get your opinion on this. What do you think about it?
I probably want to make a comparison for this in a basketball comparison. I want to say an NBA version of, actually not. If you were to take an NFL version of Kyrie Irving, it would be Antonio Brown. Keep in mind, Antonio Brown, Kyrie Irving, they are phenomenal at what they do. Absolutely phenomenal. And one of the most talented players to touch their respective sports. However, their teammate chemistry, like you guys said, absolutely dismal because they want to play selfish ball. They want to be in their own spotlights, and they pretty much want to be the man. And you can see that with either teams that they have been on, with Kyrie to the Brooklyn Nets, with the bad rep that he's getting from some of his teammates, and what Antonio Brown has done with all of the teams that he's been on thus far. But the question you need to ask is, can Antonio Brown be able to reach, I guess, the peak that he was once at when he was with Pittsburgh? And could he, with Tom Brady as his quarterback? Maybe. Could he mess some stuff up just like how he did with Oakland and New England and Pittsburgh? Maybe. But I guess you're just going to have to see in these coming weeks.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be really interesting to see how Bruce Arians handles the tie once Antonio Brown comes back, between Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Antonio Brown. Those are three wide receivers that have established themselves in the NFL. And Mike Evans and I just forgot his name and I literally just said it. But they have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin really have built themselves up in the Tampa Bay franchise and has helped them win without being controversial and really contributing to the team's character. So it's going to be really interesting to see how much they invest in, or the Tampa Bay management invests in, the older players that haven't been there since literally, Tuesday. And it's going to be interesting to see how much their playing time gets affected by the Antonio Brown signing. So this is a crazy story that's really going to start developing once Antonio Brown gets back on the playing field after his suspension. But now I'm going to take us over to another topic. We're going to talk about what team, or how do I say this? What teams we can say, one team or two, that we should take seriously going into this upcoming week. And I want to focus specifically on teams that are a little under talked about. Some teams, like, it's easy to say that the Chiefs should be taken seriously or the Seahawks should be taken seriously. But who are some of those teams that are going to be sneaky good, especially going to these upcoming weeks? Chris, you went last time, so how about we start with you? What are your thoughts on some teams that might be sneaky good coming up?
I'm pretty sure you guys know where I'm going with this. The Chicago Bears. All right, so going into this week, I'm looking at ESPN with their matchup predictor. Keep in mind, Chicago is 5-1. The Los Angeles Rams is 4-2. The Chicago matchup predictor says that Chicago has a 30% chance of winning this game. The Los Angeles Rams has a 70% chance of winning this game. What more do we need to do? Because, dude, like you've seen what they've been doing. I mean, sure, they have that one blemish, but the Los Angeles Rams, they have a really good reputation thus far with their win-loss record as well. But people are really, really sleeping on what Nick Foles has been doing thus far. And thank God we have Mitchell Trubisky at the second string now. And Nick Foles actually has a job with the Chicago Bears. And he's doing a hell of a job doing this right now. And keep in mind, we have a really, really, really tough 3 weeks coming ahead of us with the Rams, the Saints, and the Titans in the next 3 weeks. And then 2 weeks after, we have the Packers as well. So really, I feel like people are really, really sleeping on the Chicago Bears, and we're still being disrespected based upon what we've seen from the last 2 seasons. But it's a new day. We're 5-1, and I feel like this is going to be a very, very, very enlightening season that we got ahead of us right now.
All right. We were talking a little bit earlier about the Bears before we started recording for y'all. We were talking a little bit about the Bears. It's interesting to hear your take on the Bears because I am not high on the Bears at all. I am the exact opposite of you, Chris. I'm sorry. They've got a tough remaining schedule. I think that Bears team, their record is a lot better than they've played, at least in my opinion. But we can get into that a little bit later. Billion, let's go to you next. What's a team that you see as sneaky good coming up?
I think I have a couple, but I think I'm gonna start with the Colts. Being in the AFC South, the only team going in, I didn't have the expectations for the Colts to even be start out this hot, but first 6 games are 4-6. I know there's been a little bit of inconsistency from like Naheem Hines and T.Y. Hilton, but the addition of Phillip Rivers, and I honestly thought he was going to be a cancer as well with his attitude, but I think they're slowly starting to figure it out. They're second in the AFC South, like I said, and I feel like they're going to be. I feel like they're going to end up at least, if not at 500, maybe a 9-7, long shot 10-6, but at the end by the end. But I'm also on the rise so far. Sneaky at the Dolphins, second in the AFC East, and Ryan Fitzpatrick was actually doing very well. I feel like he was doing very well. And then you have some Myles Gaskin. He was showing up for them offensively. The way they annihilated the 49ers, I was really surprised. They looked pretty good. The Dolphins have been the laughing stock for the NFL for a long time, or at least one of them, if they haven't been. If we're going to say there's multiple. So them being at 500 right now, and they're looking like they're building up momentum and catching strides so far. I think that's going to be one of the teams where if they end at like a 7-9 or 8-8, we didn't expect them to do that, even though I feel like they're going to be good. Other than that, kind of looking sneaky good. I think I'm gonna have to disagree with you with the Bears a little bit, Seth, but I just don't want to seem biased because I know that. And I'm not too keen on Mitchell Trubisky. I feel like with that vet Nick Foles at the quarterback, I feel like their defense is holding up pretty well. Up to this point, they're at the top of the NFC North. they're doing pretty well. I feel like the Packers will at the end of the season end up taking that division by 2 or 3 games. But I do feel like the Bears will be a close second. So when I'm thinking about teams that are exceeding expectations and kind of sneaking up on us, I feel like those 3 teams.
All right, those are some good picks. I was looking when you were talking about the Colts. I went to look at the Colts remaining schedule, and I saw. Let me see. I'm gonna pull it up real quick. I saw that they get the Detroit Lions, which is an easier game this week, but then their 4 straight games are Ravens, Titans, Packers, and then Titans again. And that's a tough 4-game stretch. And that defense, the Indianapolis's defense is great. That's top 3 in the NFL good. Their offense can just be average to a little bit above average. That's a really competitive team, and I'm really excited to see what they do in that really tough stretch. Judge, I'm going over to you. What are some teams? Give me some teams. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think I am in agreement with Chris and Million, and we're not going to gang up on you, Seth, but I do think that the Bears are actually sneaky good. I think that their win against Tampa was one of the games where they proved themselves a little bit more. Mind you, Tom Brady sort of looked a little bit clueless, No? Oh, okay. I thought it was 4th down. Oh, well. Anyway, so obviously that helped Chicago win the game. But I think Chicago has proven themselves a little bit. I'm in agreement with you, Seth, though. I think they still have a little bit more to prove. I do think that it is a little disrespectful that, the team that has only beaten the NFC least, that being the Rams, is favored so heavily to win that matchup. I think is a little bit disappointing, especially if you're a Bears fan like Chris, or if you're a Bears player in general. But I understand being a Niner fan, because the Pats are favored to win the game this Sunday, so I understand, where Chris is coming from, where you have a good team that is still being heavily disrespected and, disregarded. So I think they do have a little bit more to prove, but I don't think that you should count them out. So that being said, my team, as tough as it is to admit, is the New York Jets. No, I'm kidding. Totally kidding. I just had to throw that in there. Sorry, Jets fans. But no, as tough as it is to admit, it's got to be the Arizona. It's got to be the Arizona Cardinals. For me, it's got to be the Cardinals. Kyler Murray is doing fantastic. I still think he, it's still early in the season, but I still think he needs to ramp up a little bit. I think he's holding back for some reason, and I don't think he needs to. I think, you saw a little bit more of Kyler Murray and what he could do on Monday when they absolutely just rolled over the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, it was just a massacre, but I want to see him go off. I want to see Cliff Kingsbury hold nothing back. Let him do his thing. They got DeAndre Hopkins and Larry Legend over there as well. Christian Kirk, they've got, some studs on the offensive side of the ball. Kenyon Drake's been doing his thing, having good games, averaging, I think, at least about 100 yards a game almost, it seems like. And their defense, a little bit unproven, I will say, although they did step up against the Cowboys. But, opposing teams have been able to score against them, so their defense definitely got to step it up. But offensively, man, the Cardinals are just amazing. I mean, as a Niner fan, you don't like it because that means you got to work even harder in that, really tough NFC West. But, as just a fan of the game itself, I love every time I get to watch the Arizona Cardinals play, just because it's so exciting to see what they're going to do. I kind of feel the same way about the Seahawks, just because Russell Wilson is that dude. So I'm really excited to see them go to war this Sunday night on Sunday Night Football, see the Arizona Cardinals take on the Seattle Seahawks. I'm really excited. I think now that game has been flexed into primetime, I think I am a little bit more excited to see them play than I am to see the two other undefeated teams go off against each other. Just a little bit, because those teams, man, the Seahawks and the Cardinals offense are just so fun to watch. You know what I mean? It's just so fun. So it's got to be the Cardinals for me. I think if I had to bet on them getting into the playoffs, I would be confident in that bet. The Niners aren't performing as well, but 7 teams get into the playoffs this year, so they could definitely sneak in. If the Rams suddenly fall off and don't do as well, and Tampa is not doing as good as it is right now, and Chicago, all of a sudden isn't as good as it's doing right now, Arizona could definitely sneak into the playoffs. Would they win a game? Probably, if they play the NFC East, probably. But against, I think the real test of Arizona's character as a team comes this Sunday night against the Seahawks. And you know what? I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it for later in the show. But go ahead.
All right. Yeah, Arizona's looking really good. And something really interesting of note to look at the last game between Dallas and Arizona on Monday Night Football this last football week was Kyler Murray's passing was off. If you watched his passing, he did not have a great passing game, but yet they still won 31-10. And yes, of course, Dallas has Andy Dalton, who is one of the strongest downgrades at quarterback from Dak Prescott you've ever seen. But no offense to Andy Dalton, he was a good quarterback in his time. But it was interesting to watch that they still won by 3 touchdowns and they were up 31-3 at one point when Kyler Murray was not hitting in the passing game. So that's dangerous. My sneaky team, y'all, no one's talking about. No one is talking about this team. I haven't heard this team being talked about as a possible playoff contender and to slip in as a wild card. I don't think they'll get the division, but I think they have a shot at the wild card. I'm talking about the Carolina Panthers. And let me explain to you why. No one's talking about the Carolina Panthers. Here's why I like the Carolina Panthers. This team's 3-3. They have the same record as the Miami Dolphins. Everyone's talking about the Dolphins. No one's talking about the Panthers. They're 3-3. McCaffrey is going to be coming back in the next couple of weeks. They've still been playing really great with Mike Davis at running back. You can do some things when you have both McCaffrey and Davis at running back. That offense has some great runners. And Teddy Bridgewater is doing pretty well as well. Let's look at their upcoming games. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time, they're playing the New Orleans Saints. It's in New Orleans. I am taking Carolina tomorrow morning, and let me explain to you why. Emmanuel Sanders is out. He's got COVID-19. Michael Thomas, that's an unknown. I don't think he's going to go off. I think that chemistry, Drew Brees needs to have a connection with his wide receivers, and that chemistry is way off. Their top 2 wide receivers are gone. Drew Brees and Taysom Hill and Cameron Jordan can only take you so far. I think Carolina is going to dominate running, and I'm going to expect an upset, Carolina beating New Orleans. And you got a lot of easy games on their schedule. They do have the Chiefs, and they do have the Bucs and the Packers, but they also have Falcons, Lions, Vikings, Broncos, Washington football team. That's an easier schedule. I could see this team slipping in at around 9-7 to being a wild card team. This offense is looking really good, even without Christian McCaffrey. And when he comes back, that'll bring a lot of versatility. So that's my take. I wouldn't be surprised to see Carolina in the postseason.
Okay, real quick though, Seth. I gotta ask. We already know that there are maybe 3 for sure teams in the NFC, in the NFC that are going to the playoffs, because the NFC is so tough that anyone could get in, right? There are for sure, I guess you can say 4. There are for sure 4, 3. The Seahawks are getting in no matter what. The Packers are getting in regardless, right? And I would say that the third team, only because whichever team is it's an undecided team, but since someone's got to win that ridiculous division. The winner of the NFC East, right? So those are the three teams that are for surely going to the playoffs, no matter what, right? Although the third team is undecided. So you're telling me that you think that it is probable for the Carolina team to get in when the Chicago Bears are doing well, the Rams are doing well, the Niners are still popping around, Tampa is still kicking around, the Saints are still doing things. 5 teams that are legitimate contenders when they're all healthy and stuff. You think that Carolina has a decent chance to knock out at least 2 of those 5 teams to get into the playoffs?
I'll give them around a 40% chance.
Okay, that's reasonable enough. That's reasonable enough.
40 to 50. I think they're slightly below a coin toss, but here's why. I'm going to say at least 2 NFC West teams are getting in. So it's at least Seahawks and probably 3. I will be honest, probably 3, but could be 2. Obviously one team's getting in from the NFC East. There's not a shot in hell any of those other teams are getting a wild card. So that's 3. I'm going to say if the path for Carolina, I see them going above the Bears. I see them going above the Bears because I was talking about how I think the Bears are overrated. I think I see them above the Bears, and I see Saints, Panthers, Packers, NFC East winner, Seahawks, Rams or Cardinals, and Niners. One of the 2 out of those 3 teams. So 3 teams from the NFC West, 1 team from the NFC East, 1 team from the NFC North, and then 2 from the NFC South. That's the path I see.
Okay. Me personally, Carolina is really good, but if I'm just looking at the way the season has gone so far, I got the Seahawks taking the 1 seed, Packers in the 2. Who else is there? The winner of the NFC South, most likely going to be the Saints when they turn things around. In the 3, then whichever team wins the NFC East in the 4, give me Tampa at the 5, Niners at the 6, and Arizona in the 7. That's just the way. It's tough because you still have the Rams. You see how tough the NFC is? I can't even give an accurate NFC playoff picture. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to leave it alone until week 10. That's when for sure. I promise. Week 10, I'll have it done. Week 10.
Mm-hmm. There's a path this week. If the Panthers beat the Saints, and if the Buccaneers lose to the Raiders, the Panthers are tied for first in the NFC South with Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay does have the tiebreaker, but they're tied for first with the easier remaining schedule. Just something to think about. I like Tampa. I like Carolina. I know no one else is as high on them as I am, but I like Carolina. That's my take. Thank you, Judge. Thank you.
It makes sense why you like Carolina because you don't like the Bears. I understand now. I understand why
I'm not a fan.
Now, I know.
I could see Carolina and Chicago with identical records. Carolina gets the tiebreaker. That's what I can see.
Why do you hate us so bad, man?
I don't hate the Bears. I just think they're overrated. And Carolina, I just see more impressive wins on Carolina's side than the Bears. Other than the Buccaneers, of course. I'll give you that. The Buccaneers, that was a hell of a win. But the Panthers beat Arizona. They beat Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins in Arizona, and it was by more than a touchdown.
Carolina for doing that. I appreciate
it.
Without
Christian McCaffrey. No Christian McCaffrey, best running back in the NFL.
Over Derrick Henry?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Christian McCaffrey, when healthy, is a better running back than Derrick Henry. He is more consistent. He brings so much more to the passing game. Hands down, it's McCaffrey 1 and then Henry 2. Henry's a great running back and was amazing last week against an awful run defense in Houston. Awful run
Dare you
defense.
disrespect the king. Oh,
McCaffrey's better than Henry any day of the
all right.
week.
We're
Any
debating that
day
next.
of the
We're debating
week.
that next week. We got
Dang.
Okay.
but we're debating that next week. I can't.
Okay.
That is absolutely
That.
atrocious.
Oh.
What? Nope.
Yep.
I'm not even gonna go into it. All right. Time for the next segment. We'll be back right after this. I can't even close it the right way because it's.
Oh my gosh.
I can't even close this. I can't even close this.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, all right. We'll be back. I'm going to get myself together so I can lead the next segment. Goodness grief. We'll be back. Yes, all right. Yo, what's going on? Welcome back to Drive by Drive. Seth had to leave. I know the season's almost over, and we still haven't had a show where everyone stays from beginning to end. It'll happen. Mark my words, it'll happen. I promise. Anyway, we're gonna get into it. I apologize in advance. All right. So we're gonna get into some predictions real quick, and to wrap up the show. Just eat the fry, Million. You ain't gotta hide. It's a YouTube channel. It ain't ESPN. No, I need the light. They see me otherwise. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Oh man.
Man.
Jeez.
Just to let y'all know, everybody, these fries is really good.
Oh my! All right, let's try and do it. Yeah. I'm not editing any of this, so
Nice. Hey, I'm all for the content. I'm all for the content.
Nothing. All right, here we go. Let's act like this.
Security.
All right, let's act like the past 3 minutes didn't just happen. And hello, welcome back to Drive by Drive. It's your boy Judge Cantrell here. Seth had to go, unfortunately, because he was about to get flamed for taking CMC over Derrick Henry. That rhymed. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Anyway, let's continue on with our regular scheduled program. All right, I apologize in advance for Million's fry eating. All right, so we actually, even though it was a battle of the NFC least on Thursday night, it was actually a pretty good game. The Giants, led by Daniel, all I do is tumble at the 20-yard line on a big 80-yard run. Jones took on Carson. I'm doing very bad this year, Wentz, and the Philadelphia Eagles. And the Eagles pulled it out, and now they are the team to beat in the NFC least. So, yeah, that's good, but we're going to get started with our predictions for the week 7 of the NFL. Let's get into it, baby. The Carolina Panthers, led by Teddy Bridgewater, take on Drew Brees and them boys down under, the Saints, and Who Dat Nation in the Superdome. This is Teddy Bridgewater's revenge game. He was previously on a member of the Saints, and then they traded him, or I think they let him go, and the Panthers picked him up. And and so instead they decided to go and get Jameis Winston instead. So but nevertheless, Carolina, they got a lot riding on this game, and the Saints got something to prove. Saints been slacking this year, haven't been doing as well. But here we go. What are you guys' predictions for this game? It should be interesting.
Excuse me. I think I don't disagree with what Seth said too much. I feel like I don't think they're going to dominate. I do see the Carolina Panthers edging this one out, though. Hot take. Similar records. Offense is actually thriving without CMC. Not surprisingly, but they pulling it together. The chemistry seems to be there. Mike Davis is good. Robbie Anderson seems to be, there for support, especially with a lacking wide receiver core. So I believe I got the Carolina Panthers by 3 points to a touchdown.
Chris, what you got for this game?
I agree with Million on this one. I think that Carolina will edge this one out solely because Teddy Bridgewater has a lot to prove this game. And also just New Orleans has a lot of ground to make up. So I feel like with Teddy Bridgewater and the Panthers having some momentum going into this game, and with Mike Davis doing what he's doing, I'm gonna have to go with Carolina for this one, but probably this will be a one to two touchdown game at the most.
Okay, cool. I gotta go with the Saints. I think Drew Brees in high pressure situations shines. I absolutely love what's going down in Carolina. Teddy Bridgewater is amazing. I think he's actually one of the quarterbacks that I enjoy watching the most. He's pretty cool. But I just got to take the Saints. You know what I mean? Because Drew Brees, he has overcome adversity before, and Traquan Smith is still a pretty good target for him and stuff like that. But Alvin Kamara, you always have a chance when Alvin Kamara plays. You know what I mean? So if you have Drew Brees and Alvin Kamara out on that football field, the Saints will always have a fighting chance, regardless of who they're playing. So that's what I'll say on that. Yeah, I got the Saints. All right, the Buffalo Bills, who are coming off 2 straight losses. Are going to are heading to MetLife Stadium to take on who the heck cares about the Jets. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I think we all have the Bills winning this game. I
have the Jets. Okay, the Jets are gonna get their first win of the season here. They're gonna win by a Hail Mary throw in the fourth quarter. They're gonna be down by 6. Okay, they're gonna score, and then their kicker is gonna walk up and just. You feel me? I got them winning by 1. Just first game. Who's starting for them again? Didn't they take serious? Next one.
The Cleveland Browns are taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. I think Cincinnati wins this game. I think the Browns have been lucky this year, and I think they were exposed last week against Pittsburgh. So I got Cincinnati taking the battle of no one cares about these Ohio teams.
I got Cleveland for this one.
Mel, what you want to say?
I do see Cincinnati winning, especially when AJ Green coming back and Tyler Boyd doing this thing. Joe Burrow's in a rookie season, but he's adjusting very well. The Browns are just disappointing to me, bro. Just straight disappointing. You have too much talent. I do feel like Kareem Punt is really coming in for him, but I just don't have too much faith. I do feel like they've had a pretty good luck stretch. You feel me, like you said, but. I think I'll go with Cincinnati on this one.
All right, here we go. Them boys who travel into the nation's capital to take on the football team. What's your prediction for this bout?
Ooh.
Yep, that's exactly, yep, mm-hmm. I in my opinion, I think it's going to be an absolute snooze fest. Yeah.
I'm just gonna say Cowboys just because, even though Terry McLaurin actually has been doing pretty good for himself, I'm just gonna say the Cowboys for this one, just out of pure randomness.
Right.
This one.
Mm-hmm. Mel, what you got?
Cowboys. I actually see the Cowboys winning by a little bit, though. I do feel like, they still got Zeke, they still got Amari Cooper, who's been disappointing this season to me, honestly. But yeah, I got the Cowboys in a pretty decisive win, 1 touchdown.
In the spirit of being like Seth and Mel, I got Washington with an upset. And it's not really an upset because the Cowboys are upsetting. I think Andy Dalton still has He needs more time to gel with that offense that has been so heavily reliant on Dak Prescott putting up 1,000 yards a game. It seems like, yeah, I got Washington squeaking away with a win, 10-0. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think it's definitely possible for Washington to win this game. Washington beat the Eagles. I know it seems like forever ago, but week 1, Washington did beat the Eagles, and they almost beat the Cardinals. So they've got the good stuff, and Ron Rivera is not a bad coach. They just haven't been on the winning side of things lately, and I think they pick up a win here. So there it is. The Green Bay Packers are heading down to Texas to take on the Houston Texans, coming off a very heart-crushing loss to the Tennessee Titans. Oh, my God. Please go. Yes! Sorry, for those of you who don't know what I'm watching. I'm watching the World Series, and Tampa Bay just took the lead 5-4. And they're playing the Dodgers, who I despise because I'm a Giants fan.
Facts.
There you go. So, yeah.
I don't watch baseball. I'm sorry.
It's okay. This isn't a baseball show. It's a football show. I apologize.
Nice.
Yeah, Houston and the Packers. I am going to say that I think the Packers get back on track with a win here.
I would like to hope so as well. I got the Packers winning.
Packers are going to wash Houston. Simple.
I don't think it's going to be a wash. That's where I disagree. I think if Houston was able to hang with
Tennessee the way they did
Tennessee last week and nearly beat them in overtime, I think Houston can hang with Green Bay as well. I got them winning. I do have Green Bay winning by a touchdown, though. I got the final score being 24-17.
I see that.
I still see Houston getting watched by the Packers.
Okay, well, it's a debate show. All right, the Detroit Lions, who are, doing all right, not too good, not enough to be noticeable, are taking on the Falcons, who are finally under new management. Dan Quinn has finally got up out of there, and, the Falcons are no longer blowing leads anymore. So the Detroit Lions are heading down to the ATL to take on the Falcons. I have Detroit picking up an easy win.
After all that said, Judge, still Detroit. No, but I am impressed with Matthew Stafford, DeAndre Swift, and them over there. I do see them winning. But you can't ever count out Matt Ryan and what's his name? Calvin Ridley. That's his name, Calvin Ridley. Is Julio gonna play?
I think Julio's going to play. Yeah, Julio's going to play.
So I mean, they was looking good.
Yeah,
they're cohesive, man.
Mm-hmm.
They are there
for sure. Chris,
I still got Detroit winning though.
Okay, cool. Chris, what you got?
I'm gonna agree with everybody on this one. With Detroit winning.
All right, here we go. All right. Ooh, the next game is good. I'm gonna save this one for last. But Tampa Bay is traveling to Sin City to take on the Las Vegas Raiders, who aren't doing half bad. I think the Raiders can be considered another one of those teams that aren't doing too bad, that are actually pretty good. And if, the Chargers aren't doing too good, Houston's not doing too good, Jacksonville, those teams, so I think the Raiders have, all the things that they need to be able to squeak in a wild card spot. But nevertheless, Tampa Bay is coming to town. I know it goes against every, Niner blood vessel in my body, but something tells me that the Raiders are going to walk away with a win here. That Raiders defense is not that bad. That Raiders defense is not that bad, and the Raiders offense has been producing. I think they can not easily, but I think it is very possible that they can walk away with a win here. My final prediction for this game, 20-23. I think they win by a field goal. 23-20. I think the Raiders take it. The Raiders shocked the world and beat the Saints on Monday Night Football. So, yeah, I could totally see the Raiders upsetting Tampa. So, yeah, that's my prediction. 20-20. Raiders take it.
Excuse me. I agree with you, Judge. I feel like I do feel as though the Raiders will pull this one out. I was just kind of worried, about that take, especially with the way that Tampa Bay demolished and just demoralized the Green Bay Packers, who I do see winning their division at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, man. The defense looked really good, but I do see Las Vegas. They look pretty good. And they, coming off I'm pretty sure the morale is high coming off of wins like Kansas City, and so yeah, I do feel like the Raiders will get this one, especially being at home.
Yep. Chris, what you got?
I got Tampa Bay winning this one. Yeah, I'm gonna say Tampa Bay solely off of them having momentum off of beating Green Bay by as much as they did.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah. Yeah. That seals the deal on that game. Kansas City still on the road, heading to Denver, who's coming off not an impressive victory because it was not impressive at all. The Patriots were just absolutely atrocious, egregious, all the words that describe trash. But the Chiefs are coming to town, taking on the Broncos. I got the Broncos. No, I don't. That is a lie. I do not have the Broncos. I got the Chiefs beating the Broncos by 20.
There we go. Oh wow. Yeah, I don't see that being a close or a competitive game. I'm sorry. That's a super team. You can't really do much. It's bad.
Man, I got the Broncos beating the Chiefs by 35. No, I'm playing. Yeah, I got the other way around.
35. Wow, interesting. And I thought I was being mean by having them get blown out by 20. All right, cool. That's fine. Whatever. That's cool. That's cool. Tell me how you really feel, Chris. It's all good. All right.
It's the Broncos.
Yeah, I know. I understand. The Jacksonville Jaguars, who are doing, no one cares about them this year, are taking on the Chargers. I think the Chargers get a win here. Justin Herbert does his thing like he's been doing all year. He's been keeping the Chargers in games. I'm actually really excited to see what he does when he plays Kansas City again next, when the Chargers have to play Kansas City again. I think that the Chargers can beat Kansas City. I think they're motivated enough. But nevertheless, I got the Chargers winning this game. I think if the Chargers can turn it around on the back half of the season, will not be surprised to see if they snuck in the number 7 spot of the playoffs. But nevertheless, I got the Chargers winning this game against Jacksonville. Mill?
I really do like what Justin Herbert's able to do over there with Keenan Allen and Hunter Henry. I think it's a tough one for me. I mean, Jacksonville Jaguars, like you said, nobody really cares about them. They've been very inconsistent.
Yep.
And just based off that and what I've seen so far from the Chargers, I think the Chargers are going to win this one. But I do see James Robinson, Laviska Shenault Jr. having really good games.
Chris?
That means anything.
I think that Justin Herbert is going to have a good game for himself. So with that being said, I got the Chargers winning this one. Even though like this is going to be like not that good of a game, obviously, but yeah, I got the Chargers.
All right. The San Francisco 49ers under Jimmy G with George Kittle, 2 men who are playing the Patriots for their first time in their careers. They take on the Patriots in Foxborough at Gillette Stadium. Bill Belichick, this is a statement game for him. It's a statement game for Cam Newton, who's coming off that really disappointing loss. It's also a statement game for Jimmy Garoppolo, going back to see Bill Belichick, and it's a master, sort of mentor versus mentee kind of ordeal. Shanahan, I think, has just as much to prove, seeing that the last time he faced Bill Belichick, he gave up a 25-point lead in the Super Bowl. So Shanahan's got something to prove for himself as well. But this is a big game. This is what you call a statement game on both sides of the ball. The Patriots need this win just as much as the Niners need this win. The Patriots need this win to stay relevant, and the Niners need this win to stay afloat in the very, very deep NFC West. Trying to be completely unbiased, I do think that the Niners have the better team this year. I absolutely love what Cam Newton is doing in New England, even though he hasn't been that consistent this year. He had a really great game against Seattle, and it had a really good week 1. The Patriots, hung in there with the Chiefs, under Brian Hoyer of all people. So, they've definitely got some talent on the other side of the ball, and it's going to be hard for the Niners to get anything going in the pass game against this team that's got Stephon Gilmore on the other side of the ball. We're missing Raheem Mostert, but Jermichael Hasty proved himself in the final minutes of the game against the Rams. He had some pretty good pickups, for first downs, and Deebo Samuel is still kicking around. Brandon Ayuk and them boys, the Yak Bros are in full swing. Kittle, Ayuk, and Samuel are all playing this game, and I think Garoppolo, this is important. This is an important game for him because he's got to show the world, that he can do well on his own, and that being in New England wasn't such a crutch for him. So I do see the Niners squeaking out a win. I do see them squeaking out a win, and I got the Niners winning. I don't know what the final score is going to be, but yeah, I got the Niners winning this game.
You see as well, 49ers, I do see us scraping past with a win. I just feel like our defense is so underrated. I feel like even with our losses, that people count us out now because of what we lost with Solomon Thomas and Nick Bosa and D Ford. Richard Sherman. But I feel like the guys we have in our secondary is still very good. I feel like George Kittle is gonna have a monster of a game. And then some of the other guys, some of our support guys, Brandon Ayuk, Jerick McKinnon, and everybody's gonna have pretty good games. So I do see us winning by maybe I'll say 3 to a touchdown. Somewhere in there.
That's fair. Chris, you being the non-Niner fan and non-Patriot fan probably have the most authentic viewpoint of this game. What is your outlook for New England versus SF?
Keep in mind, I love what Cam Newton is doing thus far. I'd probably say, I'd probably go with the 49ers for this one. Because I feel like they, even with them missing as many tools as they are right now, they probably still have a deeper team in regards to like solely offense. So, yeah, I feel like maybe the 49ers is going to probably give them probably a field goal to 1 touchdown win for this one. But I feel like both Jimmy G and Cam Newton are going to have great games, especially with Jimmy G like just coming back off injury too.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a game for him to prove himself that he hasn't missed a step from those last, what's it been, 2 weeks since he's been out?
He played last week against the Rams, but it was like 2 weeks that he was out before he came back against Miami, and even then he was atrocious. He had a terrible game.
Yeah, so I feel like he will have a better game than last game, and especially since he's playing against his former coach, that'll add more to it. So, yeah, I got the 49ers for this one.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. I'll just say this one thing real quick. I think Jimmy G and Cam Newton both have great games. Although I think our defense does a little bit better in shutting down New England's offense. I think their wide receivers, as good as they are, I think our cornerbacks that we have playing and our wide receivers are and their wide receivers are evenly matched. There's not, it doesn't one side doesn't outweigh the other in this case, because we're missing a lot of people. If Richard Sherman and Jaquiski Tartt and Jimmy Ward were all playing, then I'd say we might have an edge, but I think it's pretty evenly matched up this week. I think we do have to take that into account. Jaquiski Tartt and Jimmy Ward, both of our safeties, will not be playing, which is, it might help or hurt. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I expect them both to have a good game. I really do think that Jimmy G is going to have himself a great game, just because The ankle injury is, it's no longer a factor, I think, anymore. Because after you had such a great game against the Rams, right, throwing for 2 touchdowns and I think it was, 200 plus yards on the game and no interceptions and no sacks taken. When you got Aaron Donald coming across the other side and you don't take a sack and you're Jimmy G, a quarterback who's not known to scramble, I think that, the issue of a high ankle sprain is off the table anymore. So if you don't perform the way you're supposed to, then that's completely on you. You know what I mean? Now, mind you, if you take a hit and re-aggravate that high ankle sprain, then that's a different story, right? But if you're just not producing, if your throws are off, then that's completely on you. So I expect Jimmy G to come out the gates swinging. So yeah, there's that. Now getting a little bit juicier. The Tennessee Titans are taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh my gosh. What a game we have on tap. Steeler hurting. I know they like to be called. And tighten up. Going one-on-one. Ryan Tannehill versus Big Ben Roethlisberger. James Conner versus Derrick Henry. Really, Derrick Henry versus the Steelers defense. It's such an exciting game. I think the Steelers defense is the top in the league, at least top 3. I know that for a fact.
Derrick Henry versus some defenses for the last couple of weeks. And so far, Derrick Henry has won all of them.
Yeah, but the Steelers defense is a different monster. You got TJ Watt coming across the line. You got Minkah Fitzpatrick in the backfield.
They can, if anybody can meet him, they can.
Yeah,
I feel like this is gonna be a good one. I feel like I do see that I do see Derrick Henry flinging a few people around, which will open up Ryan Tannehill with the inclusion, because Ryan Tannehill was actually dotting and he actually seemed like a Pro Bowl quarterback for a little bit, even though he had one of his biggest targets had been injured for a little bit. So I feel like the run game and Derrick Henry starting to go will open up the pass. I know Pittsburgh defense is really good, but I see the Tennessee Titans winning this one.
Chris, prediction for this amazing matchup.
Man, this is tough because these are 2 phenomenal teams, but one team has got to win, bro. One team's got to win. Who knows? Maybe it could be a draw. Maybe it could be a draw, but that's so slim. Probably just off of experience alone, I'd probably go with the Steelers for this one. You really can't go wrong with either of these teams, but I feel like maybe Juju Smith-Schuster is going to hulk up for this week, and Ben Roethlisberger, and that's going to open up the entire field for Ben Roethlisberger if Juju Smith-Schuster is able to get back up to his playing standards, because he hasn't been doing that well the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So really, I think that probably off of experience alone with Ben Roethlisberger and their coach, I always forget their coach's name.
Mike Tomlin.
There you go. I got the Steelers winning this one, but it's gonna be a really, 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 really close game. It's a dogfight for this game.
Yeah, man. You know what? I think when I think about this game, I think back to last year, San Francisco versus New Orleans in the Superdome. I expect it to be like that. I expect both quarterbacks to completely go ballistic. I expect both running backs. I expect all the running backs to have a big game. I expect James Conner to run for over 100 yards. I expect Derrick Henry to do the same, if not more. I expect Juju Smith-Schuster. I think Juju Smith-Schuster has himself a game. Chase Claypool. Can't say enough about that rookie dude. He is having himself such a great year. I can't say enough about him. But I think this is the game where Big Ben shines and Big Ben comes through. I think this is the game that sort of puts Big Ben on the map, and he says, "Hey, I'm not the only old man quarterback in this league who can still do it." You look at guys like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady and Drew Brees, and you sort of forget about Big Ben Roethlisberger and how good he is and how good he is as a quarterback and how well he can do. This is a quarterback who has won a Super Bowl before. He knows all about being in the big time, and as good as Ryan Tannehill is, and we know that Ryan Tannehill, if you dare him to beat you, he will beat you, because we saw it happen against Buffalo. But the same can be said. But the same can be said about Big Ben Roethlisberger. If you dare Big Ben Roethlisberger to beat you through the air, believe me, he will do it. So I'm really excited. I got the Steelers winning, but by no means is this going to be an easy win. If this is an easy win on either part, I'm going to be completely shocked. If one team cannot produce, I am going to be completely shocked, dude. But yeah, that'll be it. All right, we got 2 more matchups to look at, and they're both prime time. All right, we're going to look at the game that is just a little bit less. Not to say that this game isn't as important. It is. An NFC West matchup between the Chicago Bears, who are on fire, and the LA Rams coming off a loss to my boys, the San Francisco 49ers. I got Chicago winning this game, and I'll tell you why. The Rams are unproven. Every single one of the Rams wins, which are 4 wins, have been against the Dallas Cowboys, Washington football team, Philadelphia Eagles, and the New York Giants. The NFC least. They are unproven. They lost last week to a really good football team in the San Francisco 49ers, who are still kicking around. That's just the truth. And now you got to go and play another good football team. So I got Chicago coming out with a win because, like I said, the Rams are so unproven. People put them on a pedestal because they beat 4 teams who are garbage, hot trash, right? And when the Rams beat the Cowboys, that was week 1, right? So we didn't know what the Cowboys were about, right? Had they have played, in week 4 or 5, we might not be saying that about the Cowboys. We might be saying that the Cowboys beat the Rams. We don't know, but yeah. So that's my prediction for this game. What are you guys' thoughts on this game?
6-1. Chicago Bears pulling it out, solidifying their spot in their division. I feel like that. I feel like it's gonna be a closer game than some people think, but I see the Bears, especially with the adjustments they've made both offensively and defensively. And offensively, getting Mitch Trubisky out of there. I can't say it enough. I would probably say it once per episode. Bears doing something good by not having them under center. So I feel like the Bears are going to be 6-1 after this weekend, or after this week. Sorry.
All right, and Chris, I wonder who you have to win the game.
I got the referees. No, I'm playing. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with everybody on this one. I got this Chicago Bears winning this one, even though the matchup predictor says otherwise. We're gonna go against that. Even though I'm a little bit on edge about Aaron Donald alone and what he's doing with his defensive line.
Yeah, man.
So I'm going to have to see what David Montgomery and Nick Foles are going to have to say about how their offensive line, man. And I want to see Khalil Mack do his work on defense, man. I really need to see this. So yeah, I got Chicago, but
I see Chicago winning now.
But million, like you said, is going to be closer than people think.
Yep.
So yeah, I got Chicago 6-1.
Sweet. All right, and finally, to close the show, a Sunday night matchup that wasn't a Sunday night matchup originally. The original Week 7 Sunday night matchup was Tampa versus the Raiders. But because of COVID-19 issues with the Raiders organization, a different game has been flexed. A more superior game has been flexed. Another NFC West matchup is in prime time. The perfect Seattle Seahawks, Russell Wilson and them boys, take on, I almost said Carson Wentz, take on
Kyler Murray.
Kyler
Murray. You got it.
Take on Kyler Murray.
There we go.
Arizona Cardinals. Guys, let me tell you, this is an interesting matchup. we all know what the Seahawks have been doing so far in this league. Russell Wilson, let Russ cook, is trending on Twitter worldwide. This man is trying to prove that, he's been the same. Ever since he entered this league, Russell Wilson has been the same guy he's always been. That guy who, if you need him to go and win a game in under 2 minutes, he will do it.
He will.
It's going to be
No
interesting.
questions asked, no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
You already know.
Unless he's throwing on the 1 yard line.
Man.
So it'll be
Ooh, that's a whole can of worms, and we can't even open this episode. Sorry, folks, but I do see Russell Westbrook.
Wow.
That's worse than what you said.
Millions.
I'm sorry. Future son, stepdad. There we go. So I don't get it confused. I have them going 6-0, and winning against Kyler, or a younger core, I should say. Larry Fitzgerald probably raises the average age to about 40, but I do see Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf and Chris Carson. Oh, bro, he's stacked offense, and that defense is if just as good, if not better. So I do see Kyler Murray having some trouble with that defense, and man, it's going to be a really good game. I don't see it being a blowout, but I do see it being a decisive win. So yeah, I think the Seahawks got this one. As much as it pains me to say, I mean, this matchup is if you're a 49ers fan, you hate this. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? At least we could try to.
Yeah.
Seahawks.
For sure. Chris, what you got?
I got the Seahawks going 6-0 for this game. Solely off of DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. So really, I got Seattle taking this one, but Kyler Murray is going to have him in game 2. But this will probably a battle of the defenses, in as far as I'm concerned. So.
No.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I look at it the other way because I think it is a battle of the offenses because I think both defenses are suspect. I'll go to the fact that for a while the Miami Dolphins were able to hang with the Seahawks early on in the game, right? They held the Seahawks offense to or I guess. They were able to put up 15 on the Seattle's defense, but the offense eventually took over. The Cowboys, they absolutely torched the Seattle's defense. Even though they lost that game, it was a shootout. It was a great game between Seattle and the Cowboys. But of course, Russell Wilson did his thing. So I think both defenses of both the Arizona Cardinals and the Seattle Seahawks are a little bit suspect, even though the Arizona defense shut down the Cowboys this past Monday. I got Arizona pulling off an upset, and I'm not being biased because I'm a Niner fan, and because it's not biased because both of these teams are in my division, and it's kind of a lose-lose situation for your boy and Millian and Seth because no matter what, both of these teams get elevated depending on how well the Niners do, depending on how well the Rams do, and depending on how well the game goes. But I got the Cardinals pulling off an upset just because I think Kyler Murray can hang in there with Russell Wilson. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be shot for shot. I think if Russell Wilson takes a shot down the field, Kyler Murray is going to be like, oh, okay, I see you, and take a shot down the field. And I think he'll execute. Why? Because he's got DeAndre Hopkins, and he's got Larry Legend, and he's got Christian Kirk, right? I think if Russell Wilson, takes off with his feet, me personally, if we're talking about, who's the better scrambler, I think Kyler Murray is a better scrambler than Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson is the better passer, of course, right? Like there's no question about that. Russell Wilson is absolutely the better passer. But I think Kyler Murray is definitely the better passer. And the Tampa Bay not the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Tampa Bay Rays just tied up the game. For those of you who are into baseball and you're watching, they just tied up the game. It's now 6-6. Anyway, yeah. So I got the Arizona Cardinals pulling off an upset. I'm really excited to see this matchup. It's going to be a good game, boys. It's going to be a great game. I think I'm the only person in the world, other than Arizona fans themselves, picking the Cardinals over the Seahawks. But in this battle of the birds, I think the Cardinals are the team to get it done, because if you look at it, the Seahawks don't have a tough schedule. All right. And if I'm being honest, if the Seahawks win this game and then they play us next, I got to be honest. I'm sorry. I don't see us winning that game. I really don't. I see us, I don't see us winning that game. As much as it kills me to say, I see us losing that game against Seattle. But if the Cardinals can pull it off and get a win before we play them, then maybe we have a chance, because their morale is going to be a little bit different. But I don't know. This game is so hard to call, but I got to go with the Cardinals. It's just what I'm feeling in my heart. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to say. The Cardinals. So there, that does it for this edition of Drive by Drive. We know you missed us. We'll be back next week, and we'll probably try to be a little bit more consistent, but we appreciate you all for sticking in with us and having patience. A little bit of a channel update before I get out of here. I got some pretty sweet things lined up coming up. I finally got my camera. So, more videos are to come, top 10 lists, versus battles and all that things. All those good things are here to come. If I'm not using my camera, that means I'm going to be on Zoom with people talking about stuff. We might get into, all kinds of debates. These kids, these boys, they know what it's like to have a childhood, so we might even get into, top 10 Disney shows or top 10 cartoons, things of that matter. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't see me
Lab Rats is goated.
Yes, it is. I agree with you. Absolutely. Anyway, but we're not going to get into that right now. But we just thank you for watching. We want to thank Seth for being able to come on as we do. We love you all, and I'm going to try to be more consistent on here. I know it's a struggle, but bear with me. I'm learning. It's a learning process. You'll definitely see more videos coming from me. You have my word. So thank you all for sticking in with it. Thank you for watching this episode of Drive by Drive. We'll be back next week for a special spooky edition of Drive by Drive. That's right. It'll be Halloween next time we see each other, and I am really excited to talk with these boys about football on Halloween night or Halloween day, whatever it is. I'm excited. So, who knows? Who knows what the episode will entail? So, yeah. Thank y'all for watching. We love you as always. This is your boy, the Superpower Man of the Hour, inspirational, sensational, the Judge Cantrell, signing off for Millian Jackson, Christopher Young, and Seth Weinfield. Take care. We'll see you later.
Sir.